Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the MSN Nursing Administration and the dual MSN-MBA virtual information session. My name is Tom Crash. I'm our Director of Graduate Admissions at Commonwealth University. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I know everyone is probably very busy, whether you're watching the live event or you're watching the recording. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend some time with Dr. Metzger and I as we preview your experience in one of our MSN programs. The event should take probably around 30 or 40 minutes. Again, the event is being recorded. If anybody has any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. We are happy to help in any way. But I will go ahead and allow Dr. Metzger to introduce yourself. Go ahead, Dr. Metzger.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you. And it's if you're viewing this at a later time, it's nice to meet you in that way. My name is Dr. Lori Metzger. I am a professor here in graduate nursing. I am the program director for MSN-MBA. So this is a Master's of Nursing of Science in Administration with an MBA option. I have been here, I'm with Commonwealth University for about 18 years on the Bloomsburg campus. And so I've had charge of this program for quite some time, and I really enjoy working with my students in MSN-MBA.
Great, thank you. And Dr. Metzger, prior to entering the world of academia, what was your origin story to you ending up as a faculty member in nursing?
Yes, I had 20 years that I practiced before I came to teach. So I spent a number of those years in management roles, frontline management, middle line management, executive directors, started and ran a home health agency for a while, even held the position of CEO of a small hospital for 1 year. So I've kind of run the gamut in nursing administration. I've learned a lot, not only academically about MSN MBA type issues, but also I've been through a little bit of the school of hard knocks and what I've learned. So yeah, I've done that about 20 years prior to coming to teach first at Bloomsburg University and now Commonwealth University.
Awesome. So I guess, the first question is, why the MSN? Everyone who's considering this program is probably a full-time, working nurse at the moment, already very busy, probably has some, home responsibilities. Why would someone want to jump back into getting a master's degree in nursing?
So it's a fantastic question, and sometimes with a difficult answer. I know I took a little bit of time between my bachelor's degree and coming into my master's degree, and really, what did I want my master's degree to be in? And that is a big question. I think one of the reasons to go on and further your education is, to obtain that position, that professional position that you truly want, how you want to move forward. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being a bedside nurse. I've had friends that were bedside nurses for 25 years, and I am grateful to them. They are fantastic at the bedside, if that's what you want to do. I was one of those persons that wanted to get away from every other weekend. It was for me at the time, not every third, but every other weekend, evening, night rotations, holidays. That became hard. And so if you're looking at a family life or just a better life-work balance, getting your master's degree allows you to move forward into some other positions that put you into those professional roles that are a little bit more Monday through Friday. You might have some other things that you're doing there too, but typically kind of puts you in a better work-life balance kind of thing. And it allows you to move forward. I have a lot of students that really have ambitions of moving up through an operations manager, an associate vice president, a chief nursing executive. And so this MSN-MBA allows you to do that. And you certainly need to further your education as you're furthering your experience for this type of role. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but the nice thing about the MSN-MBA is if you are just finishing a BSN or have recently finished a BSN, you can move right into this and keep going. And one of the things I've always talked to students, I personally did 2 degrees. I did my master's degree and my PhD while working full-time. Is it easy? No, it's not. Can it be done? Absolutely, it can be done. And I'm going to tell you that time's going to march on anyway. So, you could be working at this. Nobody says that you have to come back to school full time, so you take a class at a time, a course at a time, you see how it goes and you keep going. And Time's going to move on, and wouldn't you like at the end of that 3 years or 4 years to have that degree in your hand to move you upward in your profession?
So
So
is it safe to say that basically without this degree, the likelihood of moving up into some of these advanced roles at a hospital in the realm of nursing basically is not a possibility? Like this is the minimum entry requirement.
yeah, in any healthcare organization, now certainly in much smaller, there are still some small, privately owned organizations that you might be able to move up, but there's going to be a stop. They're not going to be the larger organizations. And while you might get the frontline management position, you're just not going to go any higher. So the master's degree is what you need. And a lot of them now are starting to say this MBA is popular. They want you to have that technical background. And a lot of them are saying, MBA strongly preferred. So this combination of the MSN with the MBA option makes you highly marketable.
Great, thank you.
So this is the curriculum, just a little bit about it, and we'll talk. We have a screenshot later here that we can look at the specific courses, but how you start this program is really you have 9 credits of core nursing that you start out with. And so all of our nursing students, we have nursing students as nurse practitioners, nurse anesthetists, the MSN-MBA, we have an MSN in public health, we have a bunch of them. So they all take these 9 credits, and there's 1 course in advanced role and 1 course in research and 1 course in epidemiology. You start with that, which is nice because that's a little bit, even though you're all nurses, it's a little bit of an interprofessional twist to it because you're all in different specialties. And then what happens is you go on and you do business courses. So the expertise of your business is necessarily not taught in nursing. It is taught by those experts in business. You have 18 credits or 6 classes to complete for your MSN in Nursing Administration. If you want to go on to do your MBA option, here's the real deal. It's only 5 more classes. Why not do that? But it's only 5 more classes. And I have, probably 90 to 95% of my students that do the MSN with the MBA. And there are, like I said, 5–10% that don't. And they have good reasons for it. And I will always support my students doing that. But if you're able to, those 5 more classes to get the MBA really makes a lot of sense. Then you come back to nursing, back for your expertise in nursing here. We're going to take all of that information that you have learned in those classes, and we're going to put it to direct application. You have 2 nursing courses to take, and they're 6 credits each, and each has 180 hours. I know that sounds like a lot, but you leave here on your resume 2 major projects that you can articulate and you can share with an employer about what you did. You took that information and you applied it. We just chip away at that as the semester goes on. It's all good. I have students doing it right now. So we'll talk about that in a little more detail, but that's kind of how it laid out. It's almost that nursing, if you will, bookends. You start with nursing, go get the expertise in your area of business and technical courses, and then come back and finish nursing because we're going to directly apply to some great projects. So that's generally how the curriculum's laid out.
So quick question for you, Dr. Mesker. When you're looking at the courses and how they are typically offered, are they synchronous? Are they asynchronous?
Oh, great question.
Are they offered at night? How does that normally work?
Yeah, so do we have this next slide that we have with the courses outline? I can go, if they have that in front of them, that might be helpful to see that. So this is a 100% online program, okay? 100% online. And so your courses are generally, most all of them are asynchronous. There may be some time where you have to be there at a certain time. It doesn't happen often throughout the program. It really doesn't. And many of your courses are going to be in 6 or 7 week sessions. I think we actually call it 6-week sessions, but I think in actuality, the way our semesters are designed, it's a total of 7 weeks. So there's an extra week. I think that's really just a technicality in how the semester is outlined. But 100% online that you have. And so you can go full-time, you can go part-time. And like I said, you have the ability here, if you're just finishing your BSN or you just recently finished your BSN, you can move right into the MSN immediately. Both, since you are taking nursing classes and business classes, both programs are accredited by top accrediting bodies. So we are accredited by CCNE, which is a premier accreditor in nursing education. And the business side is, and my partner in crime, Dr. Mariani, who assists me with this, she is the MBA director. And the MBA program is accredited by AACSB, which is a top accreditor in MBA and business education. So most of this is going to be asynchronous online, is the bottom line to that. And many of the classes, especially the business classes, are offered in 6-week, or technically, I think it's 7 credits, like a half semester. So I can talk about that more as we go forward. I don't want to give you all the it's a lot to digest, so I don't want to overwhelm.
Well, and one of the more surprising things too is the ability to go from the BSN right into the MSN.
Absolutely.
And I think the misnomer is that, oh, you got to have, a decade in the field to be able to do that. Whereas this is, the barrier to entry into this program is not going to be having, 7 or 8 years worth of experience prior to entering.
Yeah, I mean, having that experience can be a very valuable thing as well. But if you're going to be a nurse practitioner, you need to have some experience because you're going to diagnose, prescribe, and treat. So this is different than what you're doing. If you're going to do anesthesia, you need ICU experience before moving into that very specific role. And so these programs like the MSN and the MSN-MBA allow you to keep moving forward while you're gaining that experience. You know what I mean? So you can kind of, do that life experience portion at the same time you're adding to your education. And you don't have that wait time because we're not getting another license. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that gets us into the MSN-MBA curriculum.
So these are the classes. This is what you'll do. In the MSN, for those business courses, you do have 1 class in accounting. You have a couple of classes in management, a couple of classes in information technology, and you have a class in marketing. Now, all of these courses are these half semesters. So what that does is it allows you to take 2 classes in 1 semester more easily. And the reason I say that is, when you're trying to juggle work, home, and then, let's not forget we have a life, right? So when you're trying to do that kind of thing, if you've got family you're responsible for or whatever, and those kinds of things, now you're going to add in school. What happens is by having just 1 class in the first half, you can focus solely on that class. You only have to worry about accounting. So for that half a semester, you can focus on everything accounting. And then for the second half, you can focus on and take a management course and focus just on management. So you don't have to kind of split your focus while you're taking 2 courses at the same time. So I know I didn't have this benefit. So I always found this challenging, trying to balance work and home and all these other kinds of things. And then, well, there's this class where I really got that class under control. Oh my goodness, what about my quantitative class? I have to worry about that. So that allows you to, I think, not split your focus. And students I'm finding actually are moving through this program almost in a little bit, I don't want to say a completely accelerated, but really an accelerated rate. So if you go on then to do your MBA, you have 1 finance course, 1 course in law, a few more management courses, and an information technology course. So I think the way that these business courses, and Dr. Mariani and I have spent hours discussing these, but we really think that we have formulated a very well-rounded, you get the latest of what we're doing in digital marketing, you get understanding the law and the legal aspect of it as well. You get an accounting course, a finance course, your management courses. So all of these things are tied in. And when we come to those practicum courses that we were talking about, those 6 credit, when you come back to nursing and do the application of 180 hours, we're doing pieces of all of this, okay? So we were just doing student presentations last week, and we had a student doing a presentation. They said, oh, by the way, we were working on this new device, and there was an FDA recall. So the legality of the FDA recall on this device we were able to discuss that because you can't get away from it once you have entered into the world of business and management. So I think this is a very well-rounded package, I think, for the MSN MBA student.
Yeah, and I think the way that the courses are delivered in that format is it's not easier, but it's simpler, right? And
yeah, I think to keep your focus, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think credit. I'm not qualified for this grad program, but if I were, that's something that I would be looking for. That's something that I would find helpful, where I could sink all of my time and effort into this one thing, move on to the next module.
It is almost like it's a module mentality kind of thing. And I never had that option.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. I think it would really, and my students are finding that it works well.
And the coursework is reflective of what the career options are. As we get into the career options, correct me if I'm wrong, this does not prepare someone to be necessarily like an advanced practitioner, right? This is something that's like, no, you're going to be the person that's leading a team of nurses, or has advanced to an AVP or a C-suite position. So
right.
Your purview is a little bit bigger in scope. So you've got to understand finance and accounting, in IT, in marketing, in the legal aspect, because your day-to-day life is going to, you're going to touch on each one of those subjects probably on almost a daily basis. So that's really interesting. So for the students who are graduating with this degree, what are some of the things they're doing when they leave?
Yeah, so you make a very good point, Tom. This is, the phrase we use is span of control. So it does widen your span of control. I'm not wild about that word control, but that's what we call it in business world. And so you do have to have not a zoom lens, but this wide angle view of all that's going on. So do you need to know what a nurse practitioner does? Yes, because you need to understand you may be managing nurse practitioners, but you're only trying to manage them in what they're doing. That expertise lies with them to diagnose, manage, and treat a patient. So we have people in a lot of different roles. That frontline manager, middle manager, whatever you might want to call that person, whether you're a team coordinator, team leader, an operations manager, any of those kinds of things are certainly career options where a lot of our students start, or I have students that are already in those roles wanting to move forward. So they want to move to the associate vice president. They want to be a director over an entire service line, inpatient and outpatient. They want those kinds of options. And we have leaders, the ER is a very unique place. The OR is a very unique place. And so they have different levels of coordinators, directors, and managers. You can also do this in health information, quality improvement, outpatient areas, and ultimately C-suite positions. So if you want to be the chief nursing officer, the chief nursing executive, or prepare yourself really to be available when those positions come up, when the opportunity is in front of you, then you have prepared with your experience, but also now you have the education credential behind you. So when that option comes up, you're ready.
Yeah, it seems like the best time to have started this degree was yesterday. The second best time to start the degree is today. Because, as we get on to the next slide and you can see what the job outlook is looking like, there is going to be a humongous demand for these types of roles. And the benefit of starting this program now is basically you'll be ready when the jobs are available. You won't have to say, well, no, I'm in progress. It's like, no, I've got my degrees. I'm ready to go. And that's one of the thing that's really beneficial. I also like the, as you talk about, exploring the business side of healthcare, you're right, where it's like,
all right.
I think you said the scope of influencer, or the scope of control. It's almost like your portfolio of work will be significantly bigger. You might not get as much depth in each subject, but you'll get a lot of breadth, right? So it's like your knowledge base is like, it'll be an inch deep and a mile wide. So if you're a person that likes I guess you said the wide angle lens, or you like the view from 10,000 feet, and you find value in strategy and things like that, this seems to be a good field. Is that accurate, Dr.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I think that's one of the things that, now I'm in education now, but in my previous time, one of the things that I always really liked about it, I am a big picture person. You show me what we're after and allow me to see that scope, the big picture. I will get in there and I will work towards that. And I know there's a lot of people like that, a lot of nurses like that. They're very good at the detail of what they're going to do, but also show me the big picture. It's kind of like doing a jigsaw puzzle. I don't like doing a jigsaw puzzle if you're not going to show me the picture of what I'm after. Show me the picture just even a few times and I'm good to go. But yeah, that's really what that is. And when we did this talk, we update this obviously from time to time, but when we were doing this just even 3-4 years ago, and Tom and I were doing these kinds of things, there was only 3 million nurses in the United States. There's now 4.5 million. That number has climbed so high in just the past few years. And the good thing is, I think, even though my age is not getting younger, the median age of nurses in the country is getting a little bit younger. That's a really fantastic outlook. The amount of energy and those kinds of things you can bring to innovation and new development and those kinds of things. And now, if you're in a management role, you now have the ability to make those innovations happen. So, and I think even some of the median pay is probably some conservative numbers out there, because if you're going to climb to the C-suite, oh, trust me, it's not going to be 175,000. I personally have friends who are in those chief nurse executive, chief nursing officer roles. And that 6-digit number is starting with a 3. So just saying.
Right. Yeah.
And they worked hard to get there, and they work hard, but they really have a list of accomplishments that's quite impressive. So yeah, the job outlook in healthcare, I mean, healthcare keeps growing and growing.
Well, you make a good point though. Like if you're a current BSN, right, or you're a current nurse, have your BSN, and you're looking at coming back to school for this, like one of the things you want to look at, like, what is the ROI? I'm giving up a lot of time, a lot of effort to be able to do this. I want to make sure this is going to be worth my time and all of my effort for the next couple of years. And the ROI on this probably be pretty high. And that's not always the case with all advanced degrees. Sometimes, it will give you an advanced standing, but it might not increase your earning potential tremendously. Whereas that's not going to be the case. Your ROI, your earning potential will be high.
Absolutely. And here at Commonwealth, we are an extremely affordable option for what you are receiving. Like I said, you have premier accrediting bodies that are governing these 2 programs in nursing and business. And so really your return on investment here is quite evident, because you are receiving, I think, a very good education that's highly affordable when you compare it with some other private schools. So
the Briner School of Nursing is one of the things that puts us on the map as well. Like when you think
absolutely
of Commonwealth U, you think of Bloomsburg, like nursing is one of the things where it's like, oh no, that's a staple program. That is a tenet. So this is one of the things that we are most well known for, and for very good reason. That reputation is well earned and well deserved, for sure. So
absolutely. And we're named Briner for the Briners. And if you ever had an opportunity to meet them, Mr. Briner is a businessman. He understands it, he gets it. And how nice that they came back to do something for nursing. They really value nursing. So it's a perfect blend, especially when we talk about a degree like this. So yeah, these are some of our alumni. I mean, this is only a smattering, just as an example. It's to try to give you an idea of some of the different roles that you can be in. I have a lot of our graduates who are in management roles, very happily in management roles within the same organization that they've been for a while. I have other ones that have branched out and moved on to larger aspects in their same healthcare organizations, and then some that really represent innovation. Like you might not think of an MSN-MBA being as a clinical lead in medical research, but that's a national company, and gets to travel, but yet still gets to work in her own hometown. So yeah. Lots of opportunity for sure.
Absolutely. And so I'm sure, we've provided a lot of good information. I have no doubt in my mind that everyone's like, oh, cool, this is the program that I want to be in. What's the next step? So, Dr. Masker, can you walk us through the application and admission process and maybe some of the things that you might be looking for in a qualified applicant?
Absolutely. So number one, we are a rolling admission. Okay. So you don't have to wait till the fall to start. Right now, I'm working with applicants right now for a fall or a spring 24. They're going to start in January. So you can do that. You can start in the spring, you can start in the summer, you can start in the fall. True, do I have most of my students that start in the fall? Yeah, I do. But you can really do that at any time. It's an online application. So if you're working some odd hours and 2 a.m. is the best time to fill it out, go right ahead. We do need your college transcripts. That really can be done online. Get those in. And I'd probably do that first because it might take a little bit of time to release from wherever you went to school. We need a copy of your current unencumbered license, your resume, typed career goals. And when it comes to recommendations, we ask for 2 references and then 1 completed recommendation. And there's a form right on the online application process. You get the form, you can send it to whoever you want to have complete that, and they send it back. And then we will start the online process. The graduate office is really very efficient in getting those in process to me, and we move as quick as we can on them so that you have answers. And I talk with a lot of our students before or while they're doing this application process if they have more specific questions or they want to review something that might have been presented in a session like this. And I'm happy to do that. In fact, I'm talking to somebody today at 1:30 this afternoon. So, and that person hasn't applied yet, but just wanted to talk to me. I'm more than happy to do that kind of thing. But it's a pretty streamlined process in order to do that. So I would just, say, make sure, I'm always looking for that person who truly is very interested in management or administration as a future career goal for them. Because if that's the case, I think this is a degree for you. With no doubt. And I kind of wish that I might have had some kind of streamlined option like this for me years ago. But I didn't. I still had a very fulfilling career. But this is just so much different than what the options were years and years ago. So like I said, I think the MSN and with the MBA option is just a great way to go.
Excellent, excellent. And as Dr. Metzger had mentioned, if you have any contact, or if you're looking for contact information, you have any questions, Dr. Metzger and myself, we're always happy to help in any way possible. We work for you, and we're happy to do so. So, Dr. Metzger, as we look at as we look at the program moving forward, what are some of the things in the field that you think will be more prominent moving? Now, this is a very broad question. What does the future of nursing administration look like in your mind? What are some of the things where, like, if you're a prospective student, you're considering this and you're wondering, man, do I want to do this or do I want to do the advanced nurse practitioner program, right? Like, what are some of the distinctive features for this field moving forward in your mind?
I think the students that come into this program and graduate from this program are motivated by this type of degree are the ones that really want to help facilitate innovation and moving nursing forward because you have a voice in moving nursing forward. So if there are different strategies to use for nurse staffing, if you feel like staffing ratios are something that should be incorporated, here's where you truly have a voice as a manager in order to make that happen. If you are looking at different technology to use or electronic health records or those kinds of things, and you're looking for those types of partners that are going to, whether it's, Epic is very popular across the country or wherever it might be, Cerner, whatever it is, and you want to have a say and a voice in who those are, and you want to explore those kinds of things in order to implement it and make it better for new nurses. If you want to improve your vacancy rates, there's a number of things where you want to have input to make that change, to really, as they say, be the change. Do you know what I mean? This really gives you an option now to have a voice at the table.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this degree so pertinent to nursing.
So I know one of the things that we talked about is the coursework. You've been in the field, you've been a practitioner. You've also moved into research and teaching. If you had to, based on your previous professional experiences and your academic experiences, what's maybe your favorite subject, favorite class, favorite unit to teach in this program, if you had to pick one?
Oh, I love the practicum. I get so excited. When you have all of this information and you come back, and those are the courses that I teach, the 6-credit classes that my students take where they're going to go do a practicum project. I get so excited by your program, by your projects. I have one of my students right now that is working with AI, new world for me. And I love that my students drag me into it. I want to learn too. And, you know, they say, hey, look, this is what I want to do. And so what this student is doing is really creating automatic audit, an electronic record, which is really driven by artificial intelligence. And they are creating reports on infection rates within 4 hours that the computer, by the data that has been fed into it, is already generating and you know, telling you where there are problems or whatever. I think that's so exciting in nursing to have that kind of information at your fingertips. And we no longer have nurses stuck somewhere in data doing tally points and stroke things and whatever, and all the things that we need to do. You know, you're still able to, you can let your nurses be at patient care, and yet all the data you've entered, now that the computer's doing it for you. Like, to have that automated is really exciting. And, you know, my students get excited by it, and then I get excited by it too. I love teaching those courses. And so, yeah, because we just, you know, we bounce ideas off of one another. And as I guide it through, and I say, hey, did you think about this? I didn't think about that. And we find a contact, go talk to this person, you know, whatever. And so, my favorite part, I really do love that, because I want you to come away with a really useful, good project that will, be for your education and learning, but also be that great line item on your resume to say, look, I've done this work in this kind of thing, so that you can demonstrate, you know, I wasn't with a textbook all the time. This was direct application.
So my final question is, as you know, because everyone who's considering this program already has a bachelor's degree, already has a BSN. What's some of the difference in the work between an undergraduate BSN and a graduate MSN? Like, what are some of the differences? Like, is it more research? Is it more reading? Is it the faculty to student relationship is different? Like, what are some of the things that might stick out in your mind?
Well, I think a lot of those things are different. So, you know, faculty to student ratio is lower. You're not sitting in a class with 40 and 50 people. So like my highest class right now in a graduate level, I think my biggest class I have, and I thought this was a big class, was 27. So, you know, that was a big master's class that I'm working on right now. But, you know, so I think that's better. You know, the expectation goes up. I think any of us have gone through our bachelor's degrees. You can see that, you know, there was a certain expectation at sophomore level, and then the expectation grew at junior level, and it grew more at senior level. And that's not going to stop. So when you get to master's, the expectation is higher as well. I think in a program like this, the nice thing is there's fewer exams because we want you to demonstrate your knowledge. So if you were never that, you know, uber excited about the exam taking, as I think many of us fall into that category, this is, you know, demonstrate it in a presentation, demonstrate it in an assignment. Let's have an active conversation on a discussion board. Let's do it in a paper. Let's do it in a project. So we get other ways to express our learning. There are still goals and objectives that we need to complete, and we do, but it's done in a little bit of a different way. So it allows you to hopefully think outside the box there as you're learning. So the expectation's higher for sure. It's graduate level classes. I think you get to express what you're learning and think through those things in a different way.
Yeah, that's great. That's super helpful. So thank you, Dr. Metzger, for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, everyone who joined us live or is watching the recording. If we have piqued your interest and you're interested in learning more, please do not hesitate to contact or reach out to Dr. Metzger or myself. We are happy to help. Look forward to hearing from everybody in the future, and have a great day.
Thanks so much.